Mike Gallagher.
Continuing this very special edition of the Mike Gallagher Show from the Holy Land. We're broadcasting from Jerusalem in the studios of the Jewish News Syndicate, JNS, not far from the old city of Jerusalem, where we have been talking to residents and to military officials and, of course, our friends at the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. After October 7th, the Mike Gallagher audience sprung into action, and collectively, we raised over $350,000 to benefit this wonderful organization, and have had a chance this week to visit with Yael Eckstein you've seen her on the numerous TV commercials that air all the time in the United States. And it's an honor to welcome Godi Teichman, who is with a beneficiary liaison capacity with IFCJ, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a dedicated manager with a few years of experience at the fellowship. He plays a pivotal role in capturing and documenting stories because, let's face it, storytelling is so powerful and impactful. Godi, welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show in your country, here in Israel.
Hello, Mike. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
And thank you for this introduction. Yes, in my role, I meet our beneficiaries on everyday basis.
Sure.
I visit their homes. I hear their stories. I bring them the support that they so desperately need, and we are able to bring, with the generous support of the Christian donors, all over the world. So this is really privileged to be doing such work.
I work closely with a gentleman named Lee Habib, who is convinced that storytelling can move mountains. Storytelling, the proper way you tell a story, can touch hearts and minds. And frankly, we've all seen the fellowship commercials on television and heard them on radio, where you can see how people's generosity impacts victims of things like the October 7th massacre, helps people who are suffering through poverty, helps people who have been forgotten. I was really intrigued, Godi, by your role as sort of a storyteller at IFCJ, and that's sort of what you do in your capacity, right? You capture the stories from beneficiaries. Talk about what that means in terms of the day-to-day operations of your role, your duties, and how you tell those stories to the world.
So in my work, I go to beneficiaries' homes and I meet them where they live. So I'm able to see the exact conditions of the surroundings, how they live, their struggles, and I witness really in every visit the significance of this support that we are able to give them, because it's literally saving lives, changing the daily reality for better.
I'd like to talk about the IFCJ's role prior to October 7th and after October 7th, because for a long time we've known how the fellowship serves beneficiaries with meals, with clothing, with basic fundamental needs. October 7th sort of changed a lot of that dynamic, didn't it? Because now the need is quite different.
So, before October 7th, we helped over 2 million people all over Israel. Our beneficiaries received help with hot meals, food, basic needs that they need for the daily life. October 7th actually changed the reality of so many Israelis all over. And the needs are much higher now,
right,
much greater now, because of the disasters that happened here. And we are there to help, right, to support in this time of need. So if you meet people who suffered the October 7th attack, and we have Holocaust survivors living in cities like Ofakim, close to Gaza border, where the Hamas terrorists invaded on October 7th, and they were all alone in their houses, hiding from the terrorists.
Right.
And now they're still there, and they need support, even greater support after the October 7th attack.
Sure. Godi Teichman is our guest. He's a beneficiary liaison with the fellowship, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. I've been very intrigued by watching how the fellowship has assisted first responders. We have a real deep place in our heart for first responders. My foundation is called Gallagher's Heroes, the Fallen Officer Fund, where we benefit families and assist families who have had police officers killed in the line of duty. We also publish something called the First Responders Bible, which is a King James Bible with a spiritual fitness manual for first responders. The first responders here in Israel very much on the radar of the fellowship, right? With talk about armored vehicles, paramedics who have to go into very dangerous war zones. These armored vehicles have been a real blessing for them, hasn't it?
Of course, those fortified vehicles enable them to get to this, to where everything happens and save people's lives. Right. And they're able to do this only because they have those fortified vehicles who can protect them from the bullets and from everything going around them. And it's not only the vehicles, it's also the flak jackets for the first responders to protect them when they're doing their important job, emergency kits, bags that they receive also to help people and save people's lives.
So those are the examples of things that you're able to provide to so many in need here in Israel. I hope you'll go to MikeOnline.com, look for the Israel at War banner at the top of the page. After October 7th, you stepped up in a magnificent way, and I'm hoping you'll do so again. That's really the point of coming over here to Israel, is to tell the story of so many who need so much. And as usual, the United States has stepped up in a remarkable way, partnering with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. Whatever donation you can afford, it will go towards those Kevlar, those flak jackets, those armored vehicles, the emergency kits, and of course continuing to provide food and water and supplies to so many in need here. So if you go to MikeOnline.com, you'll see the Israel at War banner at the top of the page, or just text the keyword Israel to our text line, which is working just fine over here in Israel. A lot of great technology in the Holy Land, which I love. If you text Israel to 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453. Again, just text the keyword Israel. We'll text you back the link to the fellowship where you can make a secure online donation. Or again, just visit MikeOnline.com and click on that Israel at War banner at the top of the page. Godi, Teichman, in closing, I just want to ask what it feels like personally to do what you do for a living. All of us feel compelled or called to do something meaningful. We want to make a difference in the world. I cannot imagine how much more meaningful it must feel than to work with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, especially in a time like today.
I couldn't agree more with you. This is such a fulfilling job, and I don't take it as a job. It's when I come and visit the beneficiaries and I speak with them, it's always with the sense of understanding their struggles, hearing them, supporting them. Even a smile in this situation, it makes such a huge difference. And when we are able here in the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews to bring them the basic support that they need in this time of horrible times of war, crisis, sure. Yeah. And we are there, I'm speaking with them, hearing their stories, and I hear really heartbreaking stories. Sure. All the time. Unfortunately, there are so many elderly Holocaust survivors that we support that, after they survived the Holocaust, they couldn't raise families because, the trauma was so strong. And now they're old and they're living through war again and they feel alone. And we come to them, give them the real support that they need, and they also feel less alone. They feel that they are not forgotten. Right. A lot of logistics to work out, and we did it in a very short period of time, but it all has come together nicely. And again, you can make a difference. 800, if you just reach out and text Israel to 800-655-MIKE, or go to MikeOnline.com, make your secure online donation on behalf of everyone at the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews.